Asteroid of fear.
What is up, everyone? It's Friday. You know what that means. Unfiltered Friday. So, what are we going to talk about this Friday? Well, as you know, I'm probably recording this before Friday. But this is kind of a universal thought. I put a little post out on it. What would be a couple of days ago if you're now listening. But we're going to talk about vacation and anxiety, which I have. um, I don't know. Somehow, some way, either my wife won a cruise, got a free one, something. All we had to do was pay port fees or passenger fees, I guess they call them. And so for my daughter's 12th birthday, we're going on a cruise. And yeah, I have a fuck ton of anxiety about that. The last time I've been on a boat, one was in the Navy on an aircraft carrier, and I was working 12 hours a day at least, sometimes more. A little cup of tea here. If you only knew what it took to make this happen. Um, yeah, my camera didn't want to pick up, you know, did all the different things. It was picking up on the laptop, but not the desktop. And I would have had to, they have different inputs. And I would have had to set up Scarlet or put Scarlet on this one, change things around. But it took some time, and I almost lost my mojo, I guess you could say, because I was how do you want to say? Um, mm, see, and we're back. Had to take a little pause for the cause, because as I was telling you, what it takes to bring you this keeps getting interrupted. Yeah, so first it was the computer, and I don't know if you heard in the background the dog barking. Well, that was because my wife and daughter arrived home from school unusually early. So, yeah. Ugh. Thank goodness for pause. And my daughter proceeded to tell us a story, which I'll go ahead and share with you now. Might be the most exciting thing you hear. I guess she said that they were at school today and a volleyball or something went on the roof, and a seventh grader volunteered to go up on the roof. And our daughter was trying to climb on our roof, was on the back of my cousin's tailgate of his pickup, attempting to get on top of the carport to show us. And we're like, no. So she's like, pretend this is the roof. Well, the volleyball went up there. The girl went up there to get the volleyball and got stuck. And so I guess they had to sequester all the students to the cafe or something somewhere. And, um, you know, I don't know what it took to get her down, but she got in a lot of trouble. And so I guess, I don't know if it was during a certain period or time where she said, oh, I guess the seventh and eighth graders might get their privileges revoked since they can't behave. Yeah. So that's how the day went. Not totally unlikely in our day. Would that happen? Crazier things have happened. I know for one listener, he'll remember this. Our principal, one time somebody's truck, like, I don't know if it got stuck like in reverse. It was like one of those old school F-150s, like 72 model, 76 or something. And it was going in circles in the parking lot or in the, like this grass space next to where the teachers parked. And the principal was like almost chasing it down like a bullfighter. Mr. Speaker, shout out to Mr. Speaker and both of his sons, John and Perry. Haven't seen them in a while, but I know Perry did a lot of work with Chili's. I think he even managed the one in Bastrop, which I don't know if he was there when we were living out there. And John was my age and my grade. And I think they're both in the oil field now, but very fit individuals. Yeah, always into fitness, big time. My mom used to tell me that I guess John would run, maybe one of his sons had something, you know, and there's always a charity race or Spartan race or some sort of SEAL challenge type of thing. I guess he would compete in that. And um, that's what I heard when I was away, when I would ask about people, when you've been gone. But yeah, bringing up some memories of school time. What was acceptable, what wasn't. I mean, in our days, like super strict. We're talking like no facial hair, no hair touching your collar. I mean, even in the 80s when mullets were in, I mean, we were restricted. I mean, now, if you brought that to 2025, I don't know. I'd probably end up in some sort of high court, guaranteed infringement upon mullet rights. Yeah, I'm certain that would be a thing. Yeah, no hair could touch your collar. Couldn't wear shorts except for on certain days. And back in the 80s and 90s, we had jams, which were kind of like the equivalent of board shorts, is what they would kind of be like now. Girls, skirts had to be a certain length. You couldn't have facial hair. Um, it was pretty strict. And even the grocery store company in the local area had a bunch of those same rules, I want to say, when Andrew was working for them. And Big Mother Trucker might know if they've instituted the rules and or relaxed them. Because I know I've been in some of the stores and I've seen people with nose piercings and tattoos and all kinds of stuff. I mean, I have tattoos and I'm okay with it. Always have been. You know, that was always my disposition growing up. I think um, in that kind of sort of strict environment was that, you know, the fact that I have a sleeve or any of that has nothing to do with my intelligence, my anything. This is just personal to me. Somebody, I think on a Facebook group I'm involved in, they asked about tattoos and what do they mean and why did you get them? For me, I started collecting at about 23. I remember when I got my first tattoo, Pompano Beach, Florida. My mom and dad had separated. I was living in Florida because I had run away to deal with my problems. Typical fashion, yeah. And my dad had come down to visit, and Richie C from New Jersey did my tattoo, Pompano Beach, Florida. I forgot what the name of the shop was. And he turned me on to Big Sugar, which is a Canadian band. If you haven't heard them, fucking go give them a listen. Um, and Gordy Johnson, I think, is the singer guitarist. He, I believe, moved to Austin, and I don't know if it's like a resurgence of Big Sugar or there's a different name it goes by, but I want to say last I looked, he was still playing down there. But yeah, so that turned me on to Big Sugar, which is great. There's some songs that are like blues kind of meets reggae. kind of crunchy. Um, and then we went and played pool, and that was the first time, I think, and only time I ever beat my dad in pool was the day I got my first tattoo. He paid for it as well. Um, yeah, he was a good, very good pool player, and so, but I was on such a high, endorphin high, which any of you who are addicted to the ink know that feeling. And so, yeah, 23, first tattoo of a kind of this eye shaped thing, eyeball. And then I kind of went further down with some eyes and kind of design stuff and would get collect pieces everywhere. Most places I've lived since then. Andrew and I have matching tattoos on our inner wrist. One of the physicians here who plays music live, who worked for the clinic, he has the same tattoo on his arm. Musician, whatever it is. My wife and I got tattoos one Valentine's Day. I can't remember. I think it was 2006, maybe. But that's when like iPods were a big thing. Um, yeah, because the iPhone really wasn't out. So she was like, "Do you want an iPod or a tattoo?" And we ended up getting tattoos. She got one on her foot, her only one, and I got like cancer crab sign on the back of my forearm here, which the rest of my sleeve is kind of designed around. So, because I had a little, some wrist work, um, and then that was the first kind of one that couldn't be hidden by a t-shirt and or um, a watch. So at that time, all the tattoos I had were kind of could be hidden via watch or whatever. That was my first kind of open, yeah, open below. And I don't know why I went there versus the forum, just because I thought maybe it looked good. It looks kind of like a 69, unless you know. But it works out well in the sleeve. And for our 6 year anniversary as we were dating, my wife was, she offered to, I wanted a tattoo, so she offered to finish out the sleeve. And, kind of the way it worked was I went to Pete Gilcrease over at Steadfast Tattoo in Austin. I don't think he's there anymore. It was next to Bone Daddy's, right there on 183. Um, Peter's Wieners. I don't know where we got that, but I loved his business card too. It was a picture of his driver's license. But yeah, I was like, 150. He draws up kind of the concept, or you put the deposit and concept kind of thing and kind of first session, and then start going by the hour and, a couple sessions and do the sleeve. So did the outline and then the color, all black and red. So, and then my latest ones, I didn't get one for 12 years. And then finally, I had been starving for ink and I had been needing to get something since my daughter had been born. But there was that time period, I think, like, I don't know why I never got any when I was working in the professional place. Maybe because it would have been a pain. I already had the sleeve. And um, afterwards, I had to hold off because I was donating plasma for a while. That was a big thing in some of the early 2020s was if you had the antibodies and had COVID, they needed your plasma and they were paying well. And I also happened to be fat, or fat as fuck then, and they paid by weight. And so I got the maximum amount because I look like fucking Danny DeVito with hair. Hmm. Speaking of, Jersey Mike's now sells their cherry pepper spread, which I am fucking stoked about and bought some because um, I love it. Used to in Austin, I'd get the San Gabriel or San Luis something brand over in the deli, and couldn't find it. Then I'd have to order Cento brand off Amazon, like 2 packs, cherry pepper spread. And I hadn't had it in a while, and my dad was in the hospital, and I was like, I want something different, and stopped and got an Italian at Jersey Mike's, and um, they had their cherry pepper spread, and I was like, oh, oh, daddy. So yours truly got some. Pro tip: when you get the cheesesteak, ask them to throw a couple tablespoons of the cherry pepper spread in with the cheesesteak when they're sauteing it with the onions and peppers. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. You heard it right here. I mean, the podcast is named after the Waffle House, one of the greatest, finest, non-Michelin star establishments here in the USA. I'll take the double pork chops with hash browns chunked, please. Um, or a pecan waffle with bacon and hash browns chunked for some protein. Anyway, where are we going with that? We were talking about tattoos. Yeah. So I didn't get any for a while. And, you know, I'm not donating plasma anymore. I don't think they need it. And now I would get the minimum amount because I lost all my weight. Therefore, yeah, I was like, it was time to get one. And I believe it was last September. Was it? Man, I cannot remember if I had this with Buck or not. But it was a Friday the 13th and they were doing flash art sales. And so $13. And I got some dice with the letter 13. No, I'm not part of MS-13. My daughter was born, one of them, on the 13th. Um, and I consider it a lucky number. So a pair of die with 1 3. And then she had picked out Cinnamon Roll as her favorite Sanria character from Hello Kitty. And we had a big cinnamon roll, baby cinnamon roll. She had a little sticker. And I took that and he was like, yeah, I'll do it. So I got a little two for action there. You know, I think, man, wasn't too much. It was like $60, $70, maybe. I don't know. I tipped them well though. Always tip your tattoo artist. Yeah, but that's what tattoos mean to me, and I've always they're like photographs, Polaroids that fade. Remember the interview I did with Michael Bryan? If you hadn't, go listen to it. Awesome dude, awesome conversation. But that little part of the moment you die, all your shit becomes somebody else's shit. Problem, really. Oh, I forgot the little light lamp here. Oh, there we go. A little extra light. Changed the scenery 3 times. We added the candle. The mug is missing that I was drinking tea out of. I needed a little energy boost. It was like too late for a sea bum root beer at like 2 something when I was deciding to record. And then I started having all these fucking technical issues, and I needed a little. And I was like, well, I'll have some yogi positive energy. I'm getting ready to record. We need some positivity. So yeah, it's finally kicking in. Now let's just hope it doesn't fucking keep me up, because I'm a poor sleeper. Even though, like, what was it? The other night I only slept like 3 hours, and I ran like the whole day, and my day kind of got hijacked. I thought I was going to get a nap in all honesty. I dropped my daughter off at school and I went and worked out, I believe. And then my I went to my dad's and I was getting ready to either unwind, get ready for a little nap before I had to either deliver. Yeah. Mondays are delivery days. Um or it was going to be take a nap day because my wife was off and actually stayed home. So I was going to pick up the kids, my daughter and her best friend. And therefore, yeah, so I wasn't going to get to deliver because I had to pick up the kids. Therefore, I was going to take a nap. And then my dad's home health nurse comes in and is like, hey, would you mind doing me a favor? And I'm like, I don't do favors on the clock. um, or off the clock. I was like, it depends who and what is it? And she's like, well, you know, there's a gentleman, their normal caregiver, I think twisted her ankle or something, and is couldn't show up, and the wife, they've both been sick. It's a couple, recovering from pneumonia, stuff like that, and they need assistance. Period. And when the caregiver called in, the wife is unable to get him up and out of bed. So she was like, you know, they're they're in need, and this person called in. What were you gonna do? I was like, well, I was gonna be Ubering, and even though I was maybe gonna be napping after she left, but she was there, so I was probably gonna get Uber while she was there at least, because she likes to take a little bit of time, which is okay because she's a people person. She makes it less transactional. That's why we get along. And but she's like, there's a couple, and she can't get him out of bed, and he needs help getting from his, he needs a bath and all that kind of stuff. And how could my heart say no? I said, well, as long as it leaves me with time enough to pick up the kids, which even if I had to, if it was extended, my wife would have went and picked them up, knowing that I was doing this. And it was actually coming out back towards our home, and it's near a couple that she actually cleans. So I was familiar with the neighborhood. I was like, holy cow. I go, I think that's the place, because I remember one time having to go like pick up a check or some keys from my wife in that neighborhood and needed the gate code and stuff. And so um, I go over there. I was like, yeah, let's do this. I get over there and find the place. I'm coordinating with the office manager and of the home health services, and I get there, knock on the door, no answer. Um, check the back gates. They got locks on them, like padlocks. Sorry, I had to scratch my back there. For the listeners, if you're viewing, you can see me. A little itchy for a second. But I remembered, I was like, oh, I was kind of glad at that moment. Went in my trunk where I keep my weight belt and put the weight belt on because hey, I was about to have to be lifting somebody out of the bed. I didn't know how big this dude was going to be or what, how well his mobility whatnot would be. But I gotta stop saying that. A filler word, unless we call it. I guess every time I'll just have to say bootay. Then it won't sound so filler. Uh, which is kind of like a pun, right? Brazilian butt lift, bootay, butt filler. Isn't that a whole thing now? Anywho, off topic. But this lady's not answering, and I'm knocking, and I'm on the phone with the office manager. She's like, "Well, I'm calling too, and like the phone's not set up to receive calls. It's on one of those kind of deals." And she's like, "Well, she's also hard of hearing. You got to knock real hard." And man, I was like, I know I'm at the right house because there's a wheelchair ramp, all that kind of stuff. Hear me reaching for the Tic Tacs because I guess, yeah, does that make me nervous? Well, then I kind of get like concerned because they're not answering the door. And the office manager's like, "Well, I just talked to her and told her you were on the way, but I didn't know if the wife worked or not." One, and so I was like, "Well, if he's immobile," so I even tried opening the door, but it was locked. And which I was kind of scared. We are in Texas. You don't want to just walk in somebody's door. Um, but then I also kind of got concerned because she had been sick as well. And, you know, older people, they fall, they can't get up. I was like, what if she can't get to the door? And we're turning into like almost like a welfare check. So, yeah, I got a little nervous. You hear me popping tic tacs over here. The anxiety ramping up. Time for my evening dose of medicine. Um, but I finally hear like some scratching at the door, and maybe I don't know if I heard barks or not. And I'm like telling the office manager, I'm like, well, I hear dogs, so that's positive. And then I don't know where I was. Something. I'm back down by my car, and finally somebody opens the door, and no, I think I was actually yeah. I heard like maybe the door starting to open, and started heading up back that way, and then the lady answered, and I was like, "Oh, hey, it's Richard. I'm here for nurse so and so. She said she called you. I'm here to help you with your husband." And so went in and proceeded to get him cleaned up, give him a bedside bath. Like you never really know in terms of mobility what the status of. I didn't get like a full status if he's like fully bedridden or whatever. Guess it really didn't matter. I was gonna figure it out. But you know the the wife, yeah, she answered. She didn't look, you know, they'd been sick, real sick, like pneumonia. And when you're older and depending how well you take care of yourself, it can do a real number. So she was kind of, you know, it was all she had just to kind of point me in the right direction. She's like, "Oh, normally the caretaker like takes him in and, into the bathroom and or just gets him ready or whatever." But, he man, I was like, "Well, we're going to do it here. Let's start with kind of getting him clean and checking the diaper and all that." And so I do whatever I have to do to make that happen. And, you know, if you're familiar or not familiar, when you're putting in chucks, like which is, you want to put in a clean chuck before you take out the old one. That way, you take off the garment, dispose of that, and then they're on something. You kind of want to, you don't want to put on a clean diaper on a dirty chuck. So you roll up like the chuck, push it underneath, and you have to roll the patient. And then as you roll the person, patient, whatever you want to call them. No, well, let's go with person. I like it better than patient. When I rolled him, like he had trouble rolling, you know, um, holding himself like the core strength. And so, yeah, it was challenging. Thank goodness I brought my weight belt. But I was like, no, there's no way that she just takes him in there and because he really, we'll get to it. But yeah, it was, gave him a bedside bath, got him clean, got him dressed, got him from the bed to the wheelchair, which is kind of the main thing. And then take him to the living room where it's a chair kind of like I'm sitting in, only it's one of those for older people that both reclines and also like leans you forward. It'll help eject you if you need it. And so get him to his chair, and then you kind of have to, you know, depending on what, just helping out what the normal routine is um, giving him, I have to ask like, hey, it's what are your morning medications, or, you know, what do you normally take in the morning or first thing? Because, at this time, it's, man, it's already, by the time I got him a bath and all that, it's starting to be later in the afternoon. And, like I can say for my father, throwing off what time you take your meds, if the consistency's not there, it can lead to problems. But so I was trying to get all that taken care of, see what he wanted for breakfast, help feed him. Um, because he can hold like a bottle or something for a drink and drink from a straw, but I guess he can't um, put the fork to his mouth. It was the same way I had to spoon feed his medicines, put them on a spoon and put them in his mouth. And yeah, he's got some boards to work on motor skills and whatnot. And I don't know the full status of like his conditions and whatnot, but I'll have to ask in the event we live close, we can be there in a pinch to help out. And he might end up, being a recipient of our services in the future, because the wife did ask if I could come and potentially work with him because, not on anything major, just basic, like standing up, see if, like Buck, pretty much the same stuff. PT comes and they give you a set of exercises, and that's what we did a little bit yesterday, just kind of getting comfortable with, can you lean forward? Are you afraid of falling? Is falling one of your things? Can you stand up on your own? And he wasn't actually able to. We had to use the gait belt, at least he was willing to. Buck would not, which made it way more difficult. But yeah, he has a regular caregiver, but we're there in a pinch if needed. And might do some work with him. And he was in the Marines. I think 3 years in the Army and 7 years in the Marines or something like that. And she asked him, she's like, "What do Marines say?" And he's like, "Hoorah!" But he doesn't talk that great, and he kind of mumbles, or it sounds like he's kind of hard to understand a little bit. But I'm hoping that I'm sure meeting me for the first time is a lot uh for an older person. I have to kind of tone down my energy. It's like I want to be positive and uplifting to them, but sometimes I find that I feel like I come off as too much in hindsight. Like they're probably like, "Oh my gosh, this guy," but I'm like told them, "Hey, if you want to get better, like I'll help you." Starts with standing. It starts with these little things. We did a few little exercises, but the first thing was clear. I was like, "Hey, do you want to get better, right? You want to walk and talk and all that again?" He's like, "Yeah." But we were discussing like medications, and I know the wife had said something like they'd given him one and it gave him suicidal ideation, so they stopped it immediately. And so yeah, he has some will in him, and so I'm hoping, you know, told the wife after the cruise, we'll see what we can do, what we can work out, because she kind of asked me what I would charge, and you know, you can kind of look and gauge, just like you don't want to under over, but I also know they need it, and we'll see. This is where I got to start the LLC and get all that and make it where people can donate and whatnot. But yeah, 100% needed the assistance, but they had cute little dogs, little Yorkies. They were cute, 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 and they actually escaped out the gate, and I had to go chase them down the road. Um, because the lady was like, "Oh my gosh, they're like the gate wasn't latched. I left it probably unlatched, maybe, or she might have, because she was out there looking for some paperwork in the vehicle, and she had mentioned that she worried about hawks getting them because they're so tiny, but they were attracted to something, and there were like two dogs like huddled around something, kind of like sniffing, or almost like they would be checking out semi like similar to a carcass or something, but it wasn't. But there was like you heard like a hawk, and as soon as they heard that, it was like they kind of looked up, and they actually like kind of both laid down as I walked near them and like let me pick them up, and yeah, so they were cool that way. I guess I made them feel safe, but they were cute, cute, cute little dogs, and although they when I was trying to give them a bath and change them and all that, and sometimes I was having to squat down for something as I was pushing or checking, or maybe applying ointments or bandages, stuff, because people who lay down a lot can get pressure sores, so they have to have movement. But you have to make sure that you put medicine and dressings and different things on that. And man, these curious little dogs, boy, you're trying to be all up in somebody's business, and they're all up in your business. Almost like a first assist. Doctor, doctor. Uh, if only the little Yorkie could wipe the sweat from my brow, because I was sweating. Old people usually keep it pretty warm in their homes, and then doing all the physical labor, rolling somebody. I mean, he's bigger than me, so um, probably weighs about, maybe a little more, but yeah. It's a workout when somebody's not mobile. Um, but yeah, I was talked with them and kind of, asked. They have, I guess maybe he has children that live far away, like in Idaho or something, in Iowa, and so yeah. But the regular caregiver, they seem to like her. I guess she seems to do well. But I do know that they didn't recertify him for physical therapy. I guess he's not showing enough improvement, which is why the wife asked if I would be willing to maybe come over and give him some interaction slash exercise. He had like a 3 pound dumbbell and, play like the games. I guess he used to like to play dominoes or something like that, which would be cool too. It's also good for the mental math, the brain. My toes itching. Ow. See me fidgeting in my chair here, trying to scratch my toe. I had to take my house shoes off. Should have them off anyway, sort of. Should be letting it breathe, letting it free, getting ready for vacation, which I guess was kind of the start of this episode. But it is Unfiltered Friday, so hey, it goes where it goes. But, Butte, yeah, after cleaning some and talking and whatnot, it was time to go get the kids. And, um, you know, I spent 3 hours there and felt good about the 3 hours I spent there with them versus Ubering. A potential client for the future, unfortunately, on the side of he might not get better. Um, hmm. But hopefully, you never know. Never know. But I do definitely 100% feel, my last episode, I talked about it like as a calling. And, when she asked me to go there, and I even texted the lady today, it's like, hey, is your normal caregiver coming? Because if not, I'm only like 10 minutes down the road and I can come help. But I guess I know, I'm sure everybody needs the money with everything that's going on in the world, cutting of benefits. And so, yeah, I 100% get it. And so I felt good about that. Um, and by the time I got home and showered, my wife and I watched, I think, In Waves and War. And I went to bed early. Like I was almost like dozing off here and there. Like in a few, like I would almost like be listening. Um, because I do listen to a lot of podcasts, and often when I'm trying to fall asleep, I listen and I kind of get in this zone where I'm almost like I'm sleeping but hearing the words. And then as soon as that ended, um, I was out. But then that woke me up at like, I don't know. I mean, I want to say that was one of the earlier bedtimes I had if I had my whoop. Um, in front of me, it would say what time I went to bed, but was it 8:45 or 9? Like everything looks so different with the time change, you know. It's it's got my sleep schedule all jacked up and how it looked dark so early or like, whoa, the hell. Yeah, because I woke up earlier in the week and recorded on Monday's episode. So yeah, since then it's been a little wonky. But yeah, I got a little rest, which was helpful. Because we're, gonna be on a cruise for I don't know how many days and nights. I know there's 3 stops, maybe 2 countries. I don't know. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna share all that information. Not that you're gonna find me after this airs. I'll be on a boat at sea. So if you're looking for me, it'll have to be by Halo or Scuba. Or you'll have to contact someone with some special gear to get over to me. But yeah, kind of the whole reason of this is I'm sitting here trying to figure out what this is going to be like. A lot of people get super excited about vacations and whatnot. But for me, it can be difficult because it kind of throws me out of routine, out of my comfort zone, if you will. I have like all my needs in this one little place. I wake up in the middle of the night if I'm the one who can't sleep. I can come in here and have everything. If it wasn't for the gym and Ubering, I wouldn't probably have to leave this area. So I don't know what I'm going to do when I get on this big boat that's filled with activities, which on vacations, I'm kind of like the point of vacation is to do nothing. Um, my wife likes activities, but she only scheduled a few, like to give us some time. Because she knows my daughter's kind of the same way. Like, she likes to relax and chill. But it's going to be a different experience because I know, like, I guess you can get internet, but you have to pay 20 something bucks a day. And so she doesn't always do it. And I'm actually, trying to record enough. Once you hear the next one, they might all be recorded like within the same week. And I'll have to schedule them to go out, if you will, in my absence. So you guys have something to listen to. So I'm with you in spirit. But yeah, I was talking to somebody else about it. Maybe my provider even about I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I guess they have shows and comedy shows, and you always see people getting hypnotized, or I don't know what all they do on a cruise ship, but apparently there's like a casino and food everywhere, and for me, like even going to the mall is I only go because my wife and my daughter kind of drag me there. I mean, if it's my wife and my older daughters, like going to a bigger mall like Dallas or Houston, I prefer to go with them if I can. But believe me, if I'm going, it's, I might stop in a candy or sweet shop, pastries, something interesting like that. But I'm not into clothes. I'm not into jewelry, Claire's, and everything else. or food courts for that matter. Well, maybe, but that's what I feel like I'm going to. It's kind of like when we've gone to the casino before, like with my wife's parents. For me, it's like the room or the beach if we're near the beach because I don't really gamble. So yeah, I was like, they're like, well, there's so much to do that you might take a book and not even read a page. I was like, oh, really? Um, I don't know. I might have to break down and pay for the Wi-Fi every day, not for the purposes of like TikTok or whatever, but more of I don't know tracking stuff. What am I gonna do? I don't know. I guess they have a pool, probably a hot tub. I mean, some days we're gonna be getting off in ports, um, doing local things. Yeah. Mm. I don't 100% know what my wife planned. Maybe some snorkeling, maybe swimming with dolphins. Hmm. Oh, yeah, yeah. This is for my daughter. That's why I have to. That's what it needs to be about. And it's going to require a lot of reset from me in terms of, schedule, routine. Like, I get the idea, like being on vacation, like, you shouldn't have concerns or worries, but, um, yeah, I think, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to feel about the disconnection there. When we went to Michigan, the disconnection was good for me. Um, but I was also drinking then. So, drinking every day at the lake house and visiting the dispensary daily. So, it was a little bit of a different version of me um, than this version. So, yeah, I question how, why, what, like, since I'm, not going to be drinking, not going to be gambling, maybe play a few slots. But, Butte, now tell me how many times I say it. So yeah, I'm a little curious how I'm gonna get along on this. Definitely be interested in the food, some comedy shows, maybe some reading, some people watching. I guess if you don't Wi-Fi, then um that would leave me unable to listen to podcasts unless I download some, which on some that I stay caught up on, what, yeah, I want to listen to the new shit coming up, not download. Or, I guess I could get off the port and download the newest episode. Something like that. Maybe. Because I guess you have to put your phone in airplane mode. So, yeah. Hmm. It's going to be an interesting experience for me. And I'm a little nervous. Hmm. But I'll get to tell you all about it when it's done, when it's complete. Might be one of the next Unfiltered Fridays coming from a different port. Who knows? All I need is my stand and my laptop. But yeah, how do you guys deal with relaxation, winding down, vacation? What are your thoughts on it? Like, I think about my business coach and I wonder, like, even when he's vacationing, he's working, or if he's traveling to visit family, like way away, he's working. I don't know how he would do on a cruise. I'm curious. He would definitely have to pay for the Wi Fi, but he would probably see the cruise as a, because it's really kind of what, filled with the opposite of productivity, which I think, you know, the mastermind coming up is about productivity, which will have happened by the time you hear this. And if you're not a part of NLU's Next Level Nation, then you wouldn't know about it either way. So it's kind of irrelevant. But the point is very, very much about productivity. And this is going the opposite way of productivity. It's like, yeah, I probably identify more with the crew than I do the being a guest. So I don't know how I'm going to react, what it's going to be like. But I hope it will be fun. I am slowly warming up to it and putting good thoughts and energy around it, making sure she remembers it and has a good time and enjoys it. And um, it'll give me a chance to try and be present, I guess, without all the gadgets and gadgets and having to stay in airplane mode. So maybe it'll be good for me. A little disconnect so I can reconnect and get in touch with God while I'm there. Yeah, I can stay, 100%. It's a good way to look at it. It's going to give me some much needed disconnection and spiritual time to ensure that this journey he's asked me to embark on to care for those who don't have anyone. Yeah, I got a lot ahead of me. But I know I have the tools and support to do it. Although, if you were to see me on camera, I probably look a little doubtful. The doubt is, I know it's just going to be difficult. That's all. And there's no doubt about that. but I see it as a calling. I see it as something that needs to be done, just like yesterday. Had I not been there, that man might have laid in a bed, a diaper of urine, this or that, for who knows how long. Maybe not eaten. Who knows? Not been clean till his caregiver was better today. I mean, I don't know. I don't think his wife would have been able to help because I think they have a evening assist as well to help get him in bed. Just call me Respite Rich. If you're familiar with respite care, giving caregivers a break, it's kind of what I did in a way. But yeah, this is going to give me that time to reflect, pray, and journal and read. I've been wanting a chance to read, so maybe sit out on the sun deck drinking coffee and reading. Yeah, I'll let you know all about it. But yeah, think about it yourself. If you were going on a cruise and had to be disconnected, what would you think about it? How do you relate to productivity versus non productivity? And whether or not you feel guilty about not being overly productive and indulging, or, yeah, share your thoughts in the comments if you're watching. Or you can leave comments in Spotify, I believe, Buzzsprouts, all of them. Leave it, like it, love it, share it. But all right, nervous me, kind of excited me. About to go have some dinner and try to spend time with my wife. It's my turn to take the kiddo to school tomorrow, and it's also a good Uber day. So, yeah, I need some grub, some wind down, and some sleep. So, till next time, go out and be the person you want to meet.
Let go.